Here we are with the heart of Project Redline, and that is the Zongshen 212 motor straight from China. And we're gonna be working on it even before we put it in. We're gonna do some reliability upgrades. These aren't performance upgrades. These are so that we can take it on a long adventure and hopefully it's gonna last. So things like we're gonna change the oil right away. The oil in there, I guess, is junk and then put enough in. And while we're at it, we're gonna be putting in magnet drain plug to catch any of the filings as it's breaking in. They're also known for breaking starter chains. So we're gonna put in a heavy duty DID starter chain. Hopefully it won't break on the trip that we're gonna take. And then that also gives us an extra one if it does break. So we'll also be doing a valve adjustment on it because they usually come tight. And then with that, we're gonna change the little decompression spring to a heavier decompression spring, which helps with some of the starting, kickback, and breaking starter chains, those kind of things. So here we go, let's jump in. All the bolts are the same size, so it's not that big a deal. You mix them up. Sometimes these take a little bit to get off. Now there's an O-ring seal that we want to keep intact. And here's the tricky thing is, there's also a little O-ring here, a little O-ring and a dowel pin. So we're gonna put that back in there so that we don't lose that. All right, now we're gonna be measuring our valve clearance here. To do that, we've got to take these plugs off over here and spin the motor. So that's where we'll see the timing marks. And this is where we'll turn it. Okay, so we are going to turn it, and we're looking down here for our timing marks, but first we need to make sure we're on the compression stroke. So we want to go until we feel the intake valve go down. This top one is the intake next to the carburetor. Okay, the intake is going down, you can see that. That means we're at the beginning of our compression stroke. Okay, now it's going to come up. So now I'm looking down this hole for my mark for top dead center. I don't see it yet. Okay, here comes the two ignition timing marks. And there is the T. I don't know if you can see down in there, but there's a line that lines up with a T inside of it. Okay, there you can see our T mark on the flywheel. And that means that the piston is at top dead center, and because it was after the intake valve opened, that means it's on its compression stroke. So now we can adjust the valve lash. Okay, here we are, and it's at top dead center on the compression stroke. Both of our valves are actually very tight, and they need to have 3/1000ths of an inch gap in them. This is our little feeler gauge, so we're gonna get that in there. It doesn't fit right now, so we're gonna adjust them. So the first thing you do, now by the way, I've got this nice tap-it tool here. You don't need this. You can use a 10mm wrench and a little plier, but this makes life a little easier. All right, so we broke that nut loose, and this is our 3/1000th feeler gauge. We're gonna slip that in there. Okay, just so we can feel it drag, and then we're gonna tighten the lock nut. We're gonna pull it off and see how close we got. All right, that actually feels really good. And now, I don't know if you can see it, but I can definitely feel it. There's a little bit of play in there, just like there's supposed to be. So we're gonna do the same thing now to the exhaust valve. Crack it open. We're gonna go until we can get our 3/1000ths. So it's nice and snug. Pull it out, tighten it, and then we'll recheck it. Nice and snug. You want a little bit of drag on the 3/1000ths. Now, if you're curious if you have it right, you can always get the next size bigger, and it shouldn't fit in there. Yep, 4/1000ths doesn't fit in that one, and 4/1000ths doesn't fit in that one. So we know we got it right at 3/1000ths of an inch. So we'll snug these down just a little bit, but our valve adjustment is done. We're gonna move on to the decompression spring. We're gonna take this assembly off without losing the cam chain in cam gear. There we go. We're not moving anything. And there's the little spring that we need to change, and we need to make sure it looks just like that when we're done. Now, one thing that they do tell you is that likely, because we're putting in a heavier duty spring, that we're going to have to bend this tab up just a little bit to make room for the heavy duty spring. So let's see if we've got to do that. That one off. Put the new one on. A little tricky. Keep it on that side of it and underneath it. Okay, so now's where we're going to find out if it does look like we need to bend that tab up just a little bit because this spring is thicker. It has an extra wind in it, so we're just going to gently bend this up just a little bit. And I think we got it. Let's put it together. Okay. Here you can see the comparison between the old spring with 9 winds on it and then the new heavy duty spring with 10 winds on it, and it's even a little bit thicker. And the old ones are known for not having enough spring and also for braking. So this is going to be a nice reliability upgrade for us. Here we go. We're going to put this back the way it came. Hopefully we've got enough room in that tab that this thing springs back really fast, like it's supposed to. Okay, we got it. Look, it's got plenty of room to spring back, and it goes back every time. So that's going to help with the decompression, that the decompression doesn't come off too quickly, and that's part of the reason that they brake starter change. So this is a great reliability upgrade. Okay, our valves are adjusted, our heavy duty decompression spring is in place, and we're ready to put our valve cover back on. You got the big O-ring on there, you got the dowel pin there, and the little O-ring right there. And then this takes a little finagling. You got it kind of going sideways, and then it goes just right. And I'm just going to snug them down with the impact, and then we'll come back and put a wrench on them. Make sure they're right. There we go. Look at that, I even lined up the blue so that I get my warranties though. Alright, now we're going to take the flywheel cover off so we can change out the starter chain with the heavy duty one. And here we go. These are all the same length except for this one is the short bolt. So keep track of that one. Got a little magnetism to it. I'm going to be careful to not rip this gasket so we can use it again. because it's a brand new gasket. No reason to change it. All right, there's our stator, there's our flywheel, and this is our starter chain that we're gonna replace. And I see something right now. This thing is missing a clip that's supposed to be on here that keeps this thing from coming off. So that might be a little interesting. We're gonna have to find something to work there. So let's take this flywheel off. Takes a special kind of puller. Don't ever beat on a flywheel. You only do that once, I guess. Okay, so we're gonna take the flywheel off at the 14mm nut. We tried with a smaller impact, it didn't work. And it worked with the bigger one. Okay, so you gotta make sure and use the right flywheel puller. And you need to lube that right there. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our nut back on, because from what I understand, you can really chew up those small little threads that are right there. So we're gonna put this back on and have the puller pull against, or push against the nut, so we don't ruin our threads on the crankshaft, which would be absolutely terrible to replace, and we don't want to do that. We're gonna let this go all the way down. Okay. Alright. And in the end it popped. Of course, now you gotta take the nut back off. Alright, there is our flywheel, and this is the starter clutch. And that's our chain that we're taking off. So, let's get to taking off the chain. We're gonna take this off and hope that is the right way to take this big old gear off. By the way, the other thing that we're gonna do is to lube the chain and everything that's in here. That's another reason that they go bad. That should loosen things up. One. And the other one. Now let's see if we can get the chain off. Okay, I'm taking this starter gear off, but you have to notice that it has short side and this thicker side, so we have to make sure and put this on exactly the right way when we put it back. So we're gonna lean in there like that, because I've heard that causes problems as well. And here we go with our DID heavy duty chain. The great thing is now we've got a spare if it breaks on us. Let's see if we can see any difference in this. All right, so here's what we've come up with. So this is the original one that came in the 212. This is what is supposed to be a DID heavy duty chain, probably straight from China, and it's not. We're gonna run this one. They actually say they are good for like 600 to 700 miles before you have to replace them. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna lube this up with some grease and put it all back together with the original starter chain, but it'll be lubed up. Here we go. Okay, so we took this gear off, put a little back there just in case it makes contact with it in the future. And put some grease all over our original chain, but hey, at least we got an extra. Now this has nothing to do with timing, so not a big deal which way it goes. Just has to line up and work. Remember to put this starter gear on the right way. we're gonna pull this off a little bit. There we go. So you kind of got to wiggle them on at the same time, but make sure they go all the way back. And you'll notice you got this retainer here. And this is not all the way back. There we go. Everything's got a home. Okay, that's a keeper, but it really shouldn't be touching that. Put our little guide blocks in, little chain tensioners. Make sure it's kind of squared up in there. Upper one, and the lower one. Just need a screwdriver or something to kind of pop it over that lip. Alright, we'll find a clip for that, but other than that, that chain is lubed up and ready to go. On there, I recommend putting some Loctite on the nut. Do that. Exactly that much torque. I don't know what it is, so. Put our cover back on. Looks like there's a dowel pin there. I've still got that there. Alright, short screw goes here. Other ones, same. Just gonna snug them up this. Don't have to be extremely tight, just tight enough to hold it all together. Until the next time. All right, there you have it. All right, that's it for our reliability upgrades for the 212. We also did an oil change on it, put the magnetic drain plug in it. So this thing's ready to be put in. So thanks for joining us for this, and we'll see you on the next one.